The other guys said 75 musical plays will be exposed as real public though.
Very fast. It's what happens, even though like, who cares? Like,
Yeah.
whatever, I'm listening to like such or whatever. But I'm that, that's whatever, who cares?
Hello. Wow, you got more than me.
She's like.
You can sit on any of those chairs, there are chairs here, there are chairs here, you can.
Yeah, no, there's options or anything, and sometimes you come up and say, five for you or whatever, but, not that big a deal.
When I was really confused by what my.
Yeah, you- I was there.
I thought it was good, but one of them was the weekend.
Oh, we said
They
it,
produce everything.
any way you want.
Yeah. Even, yeah, they're like huge producers, right? So, like, it's not realizing the weekend, but all of the weekends.
Oh.
Yeah, but if you had a presentation.
That was like- I was like, I don't even like the weekend.
That,
Like, I mean,
know that
I
you like.
weekend, I listen to some
Yeah.
song, but
There's another one like that, MGM. It's like, well, I don't know, how are you?
And you?
Good.
So sit down. Greetings, welcome to the Transportation Committee of Manhattan Community Board 4. MCB4, a little bit of house cleaning first. MCB4 has a hybrid policy that can be found on our website. The board members are expected to attend meetings in person unless they have a disability or extraordinary circumstance. And the excused members and members of the public will still be able to participate virtually. The members who are joining via Zoom must leave their camera on. Thomas, that's for you. This meeting is being streamed live on YouTube and recorded, so you can look at it forever. So be careful of what you say. So thank you so much. We have a sort of a short agenda today, but important. And the first, I want to go around and introduce ourselves. So I'm Christine Berthet, I'm the co-chair.
Sanford Miller, member of the committee.
Martin, member of the committee.
Rodney Washington, member.
Alice Wong, member. Ella Kim, member.
Charlie Todd, member.
Alan Austin, member.
Tina Nelson, member.
And
Garza member.
okay. All right. And so our first order of business is tree co-naming application for La Nacional, Spanish Benevolent Society, on the northeast corner of 14th Street and 8th Avenue to celebrate their 100 years anniversary at this location and 157 years as the nation's oldest Spanish cultural center. Welcome. So who's going to myself? Take a chair then. We can look at it. Whatever you want. Yeah,
Right.
it's fine.
Anyway, I want to thank everybody. My name is Robert Sanfilippo. I'm the executive director of La Nacional. And Michelle Piron, who is the director of institutional relations. And we're making a presentation today in honor of our 157 years as a society. And just this past summer, we celebrated 100 years exactly on the block. And that's one of the main impulses behind trying to get the comment. Next slide. That's the front door of our. Okay, we go on.
So brief, this is our agenda, and if you want, founding, we'll go over this.
Okay,
Fine. Okay, next slide, please.
Who's in charge of the slides?
She's in
So we wanted to start off with a little bit of our archive. It was, our original location was where the boats from Spain came in, which was underneath the Brooklyn Bridge. So in 1868, as immigrants would come off, it was very common to have what we call benevolent societies. So any immigrant group knew where they would go, and it would be, when you took that ride, you were not going back. So they would say, go over to La Nacional, and we would supply them with a place to stay, a meal, a first soup for that first interview. We had our own doctors, our own wing in the hospital. So this is the way that people used to take care of each other. And La Nacional was always the epicenter for the Spanish speaking community. In fact, you guys can see some of this is a article in the New York Times discussing our third annual ball. Over here, this is by the time, this is something, we also have a bunch of cemetery plots, so when somebody died, they were not heading back home, right? So they often died in our family, so we would bury them with our own people, have our own ceremonies. And so exactly 150 years ago, as we moved into the building, here is St. Vincent's Hospital, of course, that we had a wing before it closed. And here's just, there's one big church and there's another example of the church where people would get married at the church and then come to the Nacional to have their celebration.
And the Guadalupe Church was founded in 1902 as one of the first Spanish congregations in the state of New York to have mass in Spanish.
Next slide.
Next slide, please. Thank you. So as Rob mentioned, we started a little lower in Manhattan, but as the community grew, it was between Christopher Street to 23rd Street. So to be closer to the community, La Nacional moved to 239 West 14th Street when they purchased the building. And here we have a cutout of the actual announcement in the newspaper announcing that on June 22nd, when we celebrated our centennial celebration this past June, that they were opening up the restaurants and the building with a major celebration for the whole community. And also here we have Jose Canturbí, who was the founder and owner of El Diario La Prensa, which is still to this day the largest Spanish language newspaper in the United States. And here we have a photo of one of the celebrations commemorating the opening, and then behind here is one of the pictures of when we first moved into the building. On 14th, we to their Street. Next slide, please. One more, thank you.
So here's some other photos that we kind of find important. If you walk into our restaurant, you will see that we have there are ads from all different businesses that used to sponsor the National, since we were the benevolent home. A lot of the businesses on the block would help sponsor us. And a couple of the ones that we find very interesting is that you'll see Cafe Bustelo here, which of course is the famous coffee. And you know, they first were selling their coffee on our block. The Goya family was unanimous, so the Goyas had their start also in our neighborhood. And it's now the largest Hispanic business in the United States. A couple other things that we kind of find interesting is Angel Cancino Dance School. So Angel Cancino ran a dance school and his daughter was his best student. She went to Hollywood. And Fred Astaire said the only person who was ever intimidated by was this particular person. It's Rita Hayworth. So Rita Hayworth's origins are here on 14th Street. A couple other things that we always, these are some of the other celebrations with the stores on the block. And even we are trying to verify it. We think that 14th Street, which was the 14th Street station, which was built after those Spain had become prominent, is curiously has the flag of Spain right on the corner of 14th. So we're trying to get our code.
So next slide, please. Next slide, please. Thank you. So as we mentioned earlier, the Nacional has always been also at the forefront of social justice and reform. So one of our presidents, Aniceto Perez, formed a lobby to amend the discriminatory law, Immigration and National Act 1952, to help more immigration to the United States. And the Nacional used to organize trips to Washington, D.C. And in 1965, Lyndon B. Johnson amended the original law with the Immigration National Act, which opened a lot of opportunities to not only Spanish and Hispanic Americans, but to the rest of the country. Millions of immigrants benefited from this reform, and it was actually one of the greatest civil rights laws that was amended to date. And as an act of appreciation, Lyndon B. Johnson, after signing the law, gifted the pen to our president, Aniceto Perez. And then also, another president that we had of the Nacional was Emilio Núñez, who was the first Hispanic judge appointed in the state of New York and also to the New York Supreme Court, and also went on to co-found the Puerto Rican Bar Association. Next slide, please.
And so on June 20th was our exactly 100th anniversary, and we had a big celebration. And had a lot of VIPs from the city coming. We were awarded that June 22nd was officially designated as the National Day. We had a commemoration from Kathy Vogel, State Assembly resolution from the Senate Member Wood, a mayoral proclamation from Mayor Adams, and a proclamation from Mark Levine. Eric Botcher, of course, also attended and spoke very eloquently back then.
Next slide, please. So as you can see here, the Nacional continues to serve the community with cultural, music, theater, dance programming open to everyone. So here you can see a little bit of the marathon runners, because we support marathon runners every year. We have this chorus. This is one example of the chorus that we invite from Spain. They perform on the steps, free concerts for the public. Another favorite concert of mine is this quarterly concert series run by a professor from Hunter College. It is the New York Landalus Ensemble, and they sing in Spanish, Arabic, Ladino, and Hebrew, and play on 14th century instruments. And also, I would also like to point out, which for me is very important, the New York Hispanic Day Parade, La Nacional, is the founding institution. It is the largest Hispanic Day Parade in the United States, and this year it's just celebrated 61 years down Fifth Avenue. So, and here we have one of our celebrations, and we brought out a big 4-foot paella, and we served the paella to the community. It was fantastic. Well, our chef is from Valencia, so the paella is as authentic as it's going to get. So yes, and we have different performances, flamenco, the longest running flamenco show, tablao. We also have the longest running tango, milonga, 27 years. So it was also top rated, New York Times, Village Voice. So yes, as you can see, we are still very active in the community. Next slide, please.
Yeah, I would maybe as closing notes, you know, running a society like this is not always easy. You're really built on the backs of volunteers. In fact, the reason I'm there is I'm an attorney, and I ended up donating about, maybe 500 hours pro bono when the National came very close to closing 20 years ago. And as you know, the society ebbs and flows. We are in a very good moment now, and there's so many people. All the people in this room are people who have donated all their time. And we think, or we see some of the photos of the people who have been in our space. And I don't know if you saw the one on opening day. And I think about all those people who are no longer with us. And we feel like we are part of that legacy that we have to build on. And New York City's greatest asset is it's the home of millions of immigrants and hundreds of immigrant groups. And this is ours. This is our story. And I think that if we were able to get a co-naming of the block, it's something that could last and propose us to another 100 years. It's a really great sign of support to the bar community.
Especially in a city that has so much change. We are an intergenerational institution. We have, for example, a family member here whose family has been a member of the club for over 100 years. Her grandparents met at a picnic in Oval Park in 1920. So this is also another reason why, so that we don't lose that intergenerational connection to the neighborhood as well.
So thank you very much. This is a beautiful presentation. I want to turn it to the community, the committee members and ask questions. Yes.
Sure, so two quick questions. First, thanks for the presentation, it was great. Why now, the naming of the street?
I think we had put so much effort and work behind our 100th anniversary that Michelle and a lot of people in the community said, that why don't we try to get it a co-naming in honor of the 100th anniversary?
You've never done this before, reached out to them?
No.
Second question, what are your neighbors saying? Have you reached out to your neighbors? Is there a private club next to your building?
There was the Norwood House.
Okay, that's right.
And it closed.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, Michelle can speak some of this.
No, definitely. We have 350 letters of support from the community. We have robust support. Many people who actually wanted to sign for outside the neighborhood, but we wanted to focus on the actual people living on the block and the surrounding blocks. We had a lot of support because what I always hear is when they come to the Nacional, they come to our performances, they see our concerts, they feel like they're at home. They keep saying, "This is my cheers. This is my place."
I would also add this, during COVID, that we had always kind of been a little almost in the no type place for people who were not in the Spanish speaking community. And during COVID, when we had a little outdoor dining place, people would say to us, they go like, thank goodness that you guys are here. They would say, you know, you've been here since I've been a kid. You are a mainstay of our block. And if we ever woke up one day and found that La Nacional had closed its doors, we would feel like that a legacy of our block would truly be lost forever. And we,
Yeah,
I'm just sort of curious, what does that mean, like, in terms of opening the doors? How many people do you open your doors to? Basis. And then I'm sort of curious, you said that there are ebbs and flows, and this is a high versus a low when you.
I mean, our ebbs and flow were probably along with the city. So, you know, La Nacional was at its thriving point, I would say, shortly after the Spanish Civil War, when a lot of people had come over from Spain. And then as, you know, as United States and New York thrived in the fifties, sort of La Nacional, and then there came a period of decline a little bit for New York. A lot of these traditional neighborhoods were lost. And ours, you know, was on the precipice at times as well. And basically La Nacional, since it was the first to open, you know, it was the sign for everybody that, you know, as long as we're here, you will continue to preserve the Little Spain legacy. And there are some other remnants of Little Spain, of course, the church up the block. And there's somebody here, Max, whose father owned a very prominent store on the block, you know, is still here. So there are a lot of people who own some of the buildings that are still from Spain.
How many people use those facilities on a daily basis?
So what's nice is that we're a nonprofit, so basically people who hold events, which is, you know, we're in a period right now about 23 straight events with offices especially. We give it at a very cheap rate. Today we had the Puerto Rican Institute, for example, that had a fundraiser there. So the Nacional provides subsidized rentals to the community. And we also, so we do have a lot of people also coming in and out because we run a community run restaurant on our ground floor. So we sponsor the visas of some of the top chefs of Spain to live upstairs in our building.
Thank you both for your presentations, very nice. I had some questions about the restaurant. So the restaurant's community run, is it a nonprofit restaurant? And
Yes.
what's the relationship with the restaurant and the Benevolent
So
Society?
it's owned entirely by the Benevolent Society, and I don't know if anyone's ever been there, but our prices, you're looking at a person who keeps the prices very low, the chagrin of some of the staff, but to the joy of a lot of people who attend. So we don't even make a profit in the restaurant, even though we're pretty consistently busy, because it's part of the overall mission of the society.
The point is to provide just very traditional things that people, you know, want to feel connected to. It's not avant-garde, it's not chasing trends, it's just very
Yeah.
standard.
And in fact, even to this day, we will get people that will come in and provide them a meal, just like we used to back 100 years ago.
That was the original purpose when it first opened, when many people came off the ships, they were hungry, they would come to Nacional and get a bowl of lentils with a
In
slice.
fact, there's a member that we have that's been a member now for 72 years. Same drug dealer lives in the neighborhood, still comes over, he's 96 years old. And for him and a lot of other people who remember La Nacional the way it used to be, right? We still have the same prices, so his glass of wine is still $4.
Nice.
For him, as far as he's concerned, nothing's changed.
That's terrible. Well, so Thomas, you have anything? Want to open to the public, anybody want to testify or speak up or tell us about it and why this is a great idea? Hola.
Hola, ¿cómo estás? So my name is Maximilian Lapkus, and I was born on the block. And my father had a store, La Iberia, which you saw in the photograph. That's when it was a kid. And he came in 1930. So La Nacional is where I learned how to write Spanish, ortografía, yo class. It's where I learned how to dance. Paso doble, learned how to do la gaita. I'm not sure if you know that. In Galicia, where my father's from, they have the bagpipe. That's like, which my brother didn't want me to play too often, it's just very loud. But La Nacional is like, you know, my father needed a plumber, La Nacional was like a job thing. When and I know my father also, when he needed whatever, it was there. When there was social events, it was there. The block became the main street of New York City, of Little Spain. So You can buy arrow shirts for my father, Lady Marlene bras, who's a haberdashery. You can go buy from Gavila Brothers, or TV, or RCA's, or all that stuff. You can go across the street, across the area, and get your sort of chorizo, see if they were importing all that. And then there were like 5, 6 restaurants on the block, and then there's a travel agency. And so the Spanish community, which would put a lot of Latinos, because they're mostly males, and their spouses were Latinos. So the Spanish community at that time was a lot of Chelsea and a lot of Clinton area, Chelsea area. It was expanded. It was about 30,000 people. And when I found this out, I had about 3,500 registered members. So it was like, wow, it was like an amazing time. So I grew up seeing the golden age of the 50s, and just before that, and the 60s, and the 70s. By the time I was 70, I was a teenager, and my job was to decorate the stage. Because we would close the street for almost 2 weeks, and it was a fiesta on the street. And the mayors used to come to the fiesta. And I actually brought a photograph of Mayor being heading the ropes.
Just over there.
Yeah, he's heading the ropes. And this is when we started to take photographs. So that would be photographs before.
So why do you think with all the things you have done and your achievements and everything, why do you think having a sign on the street is going to make a difference?
I guess that for the generations of people to come after us,
Right.
it's a boost of support. It says, well, look, this is where our roots are, and people are reminded of it all the time. And, it pays homage to the 100 years that we've already been there and years to come.
And keep in mind, the building was there was moved there 100 years ago, but the community was already there.
Yeah.
It was moved there, so we're talking about over 150 years in this area, like Andy mentioned. We still have many Spanish families and Hispanic families that are descendants, or just an active descendants of the club, so it's still present.
Yes.
Well, it's benevolent associations that help build the city and help assimilate the arrived immigrants. And there were numerous benevolent associations. Some of them might still be around, but many of them have moved on. And I think to recognize you in this location would be
Thank you.
So anyone else for the, yes?
Yeah, I would like to just say a few things. My grandparents met at an event at the Nacional in 1920 at a picnic. They came from very close towns in Spain, Asturias, and that here. And my family since then have been attending events. I remember as a little girl coming and choking on cigar smoke as they made gigantic bats and all this stuff. My Aunt Josie won a beauty contest there in the 60s, I believe. So I remember being there. I think it was because my grandfather sold the most raffle tickets, but she was a beauty. And there's so much rich history that you can see. I mean, we could spend a week telling you about the history, but I think what's important is the present and the future, because we have a very rich leadership who are so devoted. Rob is devoted, Michelle, to just to maintaining the legacy, but also bringing it forward and to offer something to the community for as many, we talk about intergeneration, for as many generations as we possibly support. So I wholeheartedly endorse and support and thank you all for what you've done to keep it going.
Thank you. Amber, you want to say? Amber, you want to say?
Yes, I'm really good to see this. So I think you've heard a lot about the history, which is really important. But I can tell you a lot about what's happening there today. So as much as they were active in the community 100 years ago, this is still a place where members come together, where family members, intergenerational families come together, which is really important. You don't see that in a lot of events happening in the city. So there's also a difference, and my family, we've been in Chelsea for 5 generations. And in the 1950s and 60s, you were not told to be proud of your family origin or your identity. You were trying to force people to assimilate to a national identity. And what we've seen throughout the 1970s and 80s when I was in public school, and they were talking about getting back to your roots, which is having pride in your own identity and your family history. And so the idea of Little Spain is very much something that's gonna be prominent and visual that can be shared with the community. A lot of the Spanish history is here, it's all around us. It's on 14th Street, it's on 8th Avenue, but if you don't know about it because you live here, it's not gonna be visual, you're not gonna see it. So to have people walking in our community, not only live here, but visit here, that it is a marker. So I think that to us is really important, there's a lot of pride in that, so.
Very good, thank you. Yes.
Yes, I thank you for the opportunity. I would like to take a few minutes of your time. I'm not from the neighborhood, but I'm familiar with the neighborhood. I have a long relationship with La Nacional. I'm an actor. All of us in the Spanish speaking community know about La Nacional. We have our events there. I grew up with this. I've been here since the 80s. I'm Walter Crocknall, by the way, founder and executive director of Bronx World Film. And we are a protege institution of La Nacional, talking about what the organization is doing now. And for the last 16 years, when we couldn't find a home in the Bronx, we've had a home at La Nacional, at its gallery space, which has allowed us to program films by young filmmakers from all over the world in an extremely privileged space at a time when the city has lost so much of this, particularly downtown. I'm a man of the theater and film, and I see how much the city has lost. We just ran a 9-month trial event, a night of film and performance at La Nacional. It was an enormous success. And I'm here to give testimony to the support that this organization has given my organization. Without me being a Spaniard, I'm Honduran, but all of us have always found a home at La Nacional. And Spain itself is a crossroads. If we study the history of Spain, it is a crossroads. The way New York City is a crossroads. So what we're doing by virtue of the support that La Nacional has given my organization has allowed it to become an internationally respected institution and to respect and honor that crossroads nature of New York City. We have our big annual event coming January 11th through 13th, and there's a world premiere, 5 New York premieres, and US premiere. That's what I came here to say and share with you, and to thank La Nacional and Michelle, Robert, Max, and everybody that has given us a warm welcome when oftentimes all we found were closed doors. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Hello, thank you for listening. As Robert was, my name is Rita Cadio. As Robert was saying, that the Nacional was there many years ago, many years ago. I'm a product of that era. I came from Spain with my parents in 1961. And the first place that my parents and I went to was La Nacional because they helped Spaniards that came into the New York. My father had his first job. I was part of the youth when they had dinners for the members. My girlfriends and I used to serve the tables. I got my first kiss, my first boyfriend a La Nacional when I was 16 years old. I am a little older now, I'm 78, but I still consider La Nacional my first home when I came to this country in 1961. I love Robert and Michelle, Max, and everybody, the job that they're doing for the community. I live in the community, I'm a homeowner. I'm back to my roots. From 1961, I went back to La Nacional. We had everything. We had doctors. We had everybody. As I said, they had my father and they helped me. Of course, I did not marry that young man. But he's still in the community.
Hope he's not listening.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, this is just, I have to say, this is one of the best presentation on.
I just want.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry. Hi, I do want to echo the sentiments on Elena. I came to New York quite recently, only 5 years ago. I'm from Spain originally. And the first place the first place that really helped me to like navigate and like kind of like understand this, this huge city as a new immigrant was the Nacional. So I think it's truly a unique place in New York City. And, we've had the history that it's very alive for like new expats, new people coming to New York City from Spain or Spanish speaking countries. And I've made lots of friends there. And I think it's so important to have the recognition and be more present out there. So I wanted to say thank you.
So yes, our experts, so we have everything is square with our guidelines.
I just wanted to make sure that you guys read the requirements that was on our website, that we do have a tendency to promote individuals who gave a tremendous amount to our community, and less so to organizations. We are really thankful for your presentation, all the testimony. Thank you so much. So if this committee does push forward this, it does go to our full board, which will have a whole course of questions for you guys maybe. So I wanted to just to be prepared that we tend to favor individuals who gave personally to the community over organizations. And also because since we have a standing building, we do feel organizations and buildings may have the opportunity to put a plaque outside your building to make it more prominent that you are there and that you are a part of the community. And so we don't want you to take anything personal, but I just want to make sure you do read the guidelines very carefully on our website that is very clearly stated on there.
I'm just curious, would there be a difference for the board if it was only called Little Spain versus La Nacional or vice versa? Because its legacy is rooted in Little Spain. Of course, La Nacional is the embodiment, it's the living embodiment of that neighborhood today. But I'm wondering whether that would make a difference.
I'm not sure that will make a difference to the board. You are welcome to come to our full board meeting as well. And if you want to speak during the open session, we don't actually talk about the letters individually during full board meetings. That part is closed off to the public, but during the public session, you're welcome to come and present again. Not really present, just to give it 2 minutes still, because each person is limited to 2 minutes on their public session.
So yeah, so it's not fitting 100%, but it looks like, everything you have done and everything which has been done by this organization is just exceptional. So I would, for the committee, I hope we could have a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Oh, okay, yeah, motion to approve. Do we have a second? Okay, all in favor?
No, what's the motion?
Just,
The motion is to approve
The full board.
Oh, okay.
right. So you are,
But have we voted on it, on this?
we are voting on
Yeah.
it. That's what we're doing right now.
whether or not we want to move it to full board.
Resolution.
But at the full boards, when they're actually going to vote whether or not this carries.
But we need to bring it to the full board. So we are voting to bring it to the full board and say, we have approved it. Now, is the full board approving?
Okay, so by voting, bring it to the full board, we are approving,
Yeah,
Yes,
the positive from.
right, as a first step.
even though, I'm a new member, by the way, and this is not to discredit, and can I speak now or no?
Sure.
Okay. I thought the street naming policy, I remember going through details about it in terms of what we say is like our rubric or criteria for naming streets, and what I understood was that this would not fit the rubric.
But that's what,
I was just saying, it doesn't
Yeah.
100%, so it still has to go to the full board for
Got it.
their vote. And at that time, if they want to come to the full board and make a short 2 minutes.
Got it. So here, everybody is totally supportive of the renaming of.
that's what we
That's
just.
why we're just
said.
voting, whether or not we want to move it to full board or not.
Well, I'm not clear. You're saying we're punting this.
No, we are not.
No.
We are making,
Okay,
here we
we're
are.
saying, we're making the recommendation
Wait,
that
wait,
we
wait,
approve.
we have a
this.
motion on the table which said, let's approve this. So
Got
that's
it.
what, we are voting on that.
Got it. Thank you.
So
Clear.
everybody, can we all decide to vote on that? Who is voting in favor of approving it? Yes. And Alice, you
Yes.
voted on that earlier.
I abstain.
You abstain, okay. All right, so this passes and then it goes to the full board, and the full board will ask that question. Oh, it's not this, it's that, etc. Is it? And you know, this is something which is a little bit subjective, because then it goes to the council member and the council member can decide whatever they want, right? So this is what. the
Although the
general-
council member was at their,
Well, just because he's
That's good.
speaking somewhere doesn't mean he approves something, right? So it's, that's the process.
do we, for street renames, do we like write a letter? Like, and we usually when we do a motion, we do we write a letter where we like state why we think this would be a good,
Yeah, that's what we do every time.
okay, I just didn't
We do
remember
that
how we
for
did.
every.
So,
For every street rename, we write a letter. Okay.
Everything, for everything. we write-
I know, that's why I'm just street renaming
Right.
it.
so in that letter, we might say, this is
Right,
maybe a little
Slight-
outside our normal guidelines, but here's some reasons.
right.
Because I do think, I do, and maybe we should have talked about this before the motion was made, but I do think we need to think about precedent in terms of why did we say no to Orchestra St. Luke's and yes to this, and what is the difference, and maybe the letter can
I think
explain.
there is a huge difference in my mind because this organization has been existing for 157 years.
And there are many.
Right, and they have been in the same place for 100 years. So their credential compared to the Blue Orchestra is.
Also, this is
it's
like,
night and day, I mean, you know, and it has a lot to do with immigrants and benefit the immigrants, so I don't know, it seems to me that it's
And it would be difficult.
A different-
for one representative, one of those
Animal,
animals to.
right.
to make this.
a different animal.
oh, also, I think, like, the fact that it's not just La Nacional, but La Nacional Little Spain, I think that does, in my mind, make it a little bit different. It's naming, it's reflecting like, we want a sign to reflect the, like, tradition of the neighborhood, the community that was there and is still there, like the Spanish community, and that is pretty different from saying like, here's just an organization, like, there is an organization and they're building it, looking down the street, but the street sign is really a sign for the whole, like, Spanish community that, like, was and still is there.
I just want to say, we were told that we probably had the best chance by saying it would be La Nacional in Middle Spain. We want to just state clearly that we are flexible for both, so that we won't want to lose it, because let's say La Nacional's attached. We're happy to have it called Little Spain, like I know Little Brazil is called on West 48th Street, for example. So if that's the recommendation, we'll certainly take that.
Keep it a last.
Yes,
And I just wanted to add that in creating the guidelines, we knew that there would be exceptions, and I feel that you all have met that exception. And I think for me, it's the work that you've done, the history you brought, and then even just having Elena, who's been here 5 years, having the bookends, 70 some years, and then, it's the beauty of it. So I think for me, you meet the exception. And hopefully, our board will see that as well.
and it's a soft exception, I mean, it's not a real exception because I just read it.
Yeah.
It's mostly, but it is also for nonprofits, right?
Right,
Yeah.
we have.
Yeah.
This
So it was part of that, I asked that question of Jesse
I think
last.
we have a hard
Last
rule like
month.
for profits now.
No,
Right, that's
Nonprofits
it, that's it.
is,
Right.
yeah, more of a,
So, okay, so, and you're abstaining,
Mhm.
yes.
Did we lose Thomas? He's not online, so he's not voting.
Oh, where is he? You wanna okay. Well, you won't vote. So we are going to issue a letter of, positive recommendation. It will go to the board, the full board. At the full board, as Alice said, you can come and speak during the public session for 2 minutes. And you can have multiple of you speak. So you can have 2 and 2 and 2, right? And all as you did before today, and we'll see. I mean, I don't want to promise anything because this is a board that votes. We decide, okay, but this is a very impressive application, I want to say.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Oh, yes, yeah. They don't have a little spin in New York already.
Yeah, I Googled, I was.
I know.
It's a restaurant.
I know, I was thinking about that,
Yeah.
there's a Jose Andre restaurant.
Don't you go take
Well,
a
it wasn't
glass of
four or
water?
five, and I Googled Little Spain, the first thing that showed up was the like Hudson Yards.
That's the
Yeah.
Jose Andre restaurant.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Very much. You will come.
Thank you for the time.
But is it just one restaurant that's called Little Spain? I thought it
It's
was-
like it's
like
a market,
it's like a-
like several
yeah.
different restaurants.
Or Barcelona
Yeah.
style.
Okay, I would,
Thank you.
Bye.
thank you, Amber. So I was reading the guidelines,
Yeah.
the guidelines say we can do it for nonprofit.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as they have like more than 40 years,
Right.
etc., right?
Which is,
Right. Okay, all right, very good. So our second speaker is Rodney.
Wow.
Who's
Ta-da.
going to- ta-da, who's going to try to educate us on ULURP, EIS, and all these things, which seem very complicated, it makes him simple. So Rodney, take it away. Janine, are you bringing that up? Perfect.
Thanks, Janine.
Beautiful job.
So, good evening, and again, tonight we'll discuss the environmental impact statement. And the beauty of this process is that as board members, we often are thrown in without sort of background information. This is gonna give us shared common definitions, a little background, and I'll be honest, I think it's still very complicated. But again, the more we revisit, the more we share sort of a baseline of understanding, I think it helps. And so I thank Christine for putting this together. As some of you know, part of this came from the board engagement group. Christine saw a niche to sort of feel where we would have, you know, this just meets so many things where we're sharing moments and conversations and community, but also asking members to step up and sort of become subject matter expert. I'll cheat and say that all this is here. I did the research, but I always knew I could go to Christine and say, what's that? Hey, Christine, check that, Christine. So,
You didn't ask anything.
yeah, no way. So, next slide, please. And the way I set this up was, so just to start off as general, to talk about the EIS fundamentals, the review process, and then to move it to how it affects the community board, and then some flair, some definitions, and then how it pertains to the transportation community. Next slide, please. So here we have the EIS, and basically it's where the community has a say in what's going on before major projects come to our area. You'll see typically it's through the ULURP process. We are mandated to give our feedback. And so this is it. You'll see it's the city's requirement. Next slide, please. The legal framework, there's the federal, the state, and the city. Typically, we'll see the city, but sometimes depending on the funding and the project, we'll see overlap. Next slide, please. And this to me is probably the most important slide because it says that we are mandated by the city charter to give our input. This is where the community is involved. I think this is the beauty of the process because this is where no one knows the community. No one knows the community like the people in the community. No one lives there. No one's more concerned than the individuals in the community. The other reason that I think this is probably the most important slide is that it's scoping, and this tells us that we have two times at the apple. The scoping in the EIS process is that we tell them what to look at. So for example, in working with Christine, I joined the community board in 2023 and I've worked on 2 of these, the Chelsea, Elliott, Fulton houses, and then the Avenir. And what I'll also say is that, and I'll defer to Christine, is that the requirements or what they're looking for can be formal or informal. So with the Chelsea, Chelsea, Fulton, Elliott houses, it was more formal. The Chelsea land use came and said, Rodney, go through transportation, but we had the Parks Department talk about open space. You had the various committees look at the open space, look at the various components and how it would impact. Then we go back and we say to the actor in there, look at this. So for example, we'll say, look at 34th and 9th Avenue between the hours of between the hours of 6 a.m. and 4 p.m. We tell them in the scoping. So as they're putting their EIS together, they're gonna have to address some of our concerns. And then we have, after they've created their, the draft EIS, then there's a review process. That's the third point on this. Again, this is why this is the most important, slide for me. Next slide, please. Some important definitions and phrases that you'll hear: scoping, draft EIS, public review, final EIS, and then the findings. And these are important because this is the impact of our community. The photos that you see, there's a thing in, I don't know, Silence of the Lambs, where Dr. Lecter tells Clarice, what do we covet? We covet those things that we see. So the photos that you see is because I run on the Hudson River. So you see photos from the Hudson River throughout this because that's what I was doing the last couple of months, running on the Hudson River. That's the gateway process, the gateway tunnel at 29. Next slide, please.
So it started, huh?
Yeah, they're digging up and stuff. So some of the key players are the lead agencies, and then the project sponsor, that would be the those public agencies or the developers looking to make a difference. And then this is where the community board interacts with both the sponsors and the lead agencies throughout the process. Next slide, please. And so as we, as it pertains to transportation, we start to look at what's covered. And then the guide, when you look at the city's technical manual, the timeline, the metrics, and looking at the level of service and how it affects our community. Next slide, please. And this is important to note that future without action is no action. So this is what, if the project was never to be built, this is what our streets, our transportation area would look like. And then the future with the action is what happens when they build. The impact is the difference between the two scenarios. Something to keep in to consider, and I learned this just working with Christine. You tend to think of what happens at the end of the project, but you also have to include what's happening in the project. So what about all the trucks that are gonna come in to build an avenue? How is that gonna impact our neighborhood? Next.
This is both during and then the ultimate impact of the completed project. So
As
they're
you-
building a pipeline or
as you're
something,
looking at
and you look at both
That's
the
right.
construction
Right.
and
Right.
how mobility would be improved after.
That's right.
So-
And I was just sharing my
It's
experience.
assessed in like different sections of
Yeah.
when the
Yeah.
it comes out. Is there like one section that's like the impact at the end and another section that's the impact during?
Yeah. We'll show some examples of that. And what I was sharing is that for me, I think I jumped the gun. So the first EIS that I worked on behalf of transportation with Christine's help was, I remember just going to the end like, oh, just think when they build, all this is gonna happen at the end. And I remember Christine reminded me, you gotta think about how they're gonna build it, what's gonna happen when they come into the neighborhood. So just sharing that experience. Next slide, please.
I want to make a
Oh, go
comment about the future without action. So when everybody compares things, is that they are comparing logically with what we have today, right? But the system compares with what a projection you are doing of what the future is going to be, even if you don't build. So the idea is to say,
With deterioration of current infrastructure, is that what you're saying?
no, I'm saying, for example, let's assume the traffic goes up by 10%. Even if they don't build.
So that's happening
Right,
anyway.
so they are saying, what you compare is you compare what they're going to do with what would happen anyway. And indeed, the differences are way smaller than what we think about. So all the differences are very small and they may be not realistic because their projection are not.
Unless traffic will project it to go down.
Well, you know, and that's another problem. The CEQR manual is taking in consideration some increase of traffic every year. And, you know, maybe not, right? So when you compare this and that, it's a little bit ambiguous and a little bit, you know, and not exactly easy to grab. Okay.
Next slide, please. And so here is just some sample data. This was before my time. This was the Western Rail Yards, and Christine was nice enough to send over what some of these look like. You'll notice the red and the green. Those show what the impact of the Western Yard. So the red, as you might imagine, is a fail, would be an F because that's congested. Right, not congested, I'm sorry, congestion happening. Green is the flow of the traffic. So samples of what it looks like. Next slide. And then, so the other thing I wanted to share is that, so again, the real benefit of this is that the EIS and why I like working on this project was that it's a collaboration. It goes across community, the committees, but also the one thing that, again, I noticed in working with Christine was that no one is concerned about the cumulative effect of what's happening. So if Related's coming about a casino or the Gateway Tunnel people are coming, Port Authority's coming, they're coming talking about their project. But we're the ones in the community say, hey, if everyone has their wish, this is all gonna happen in the next 10 years. What is going to happen to our community down 10th Avenue? So I think that's again, another benefit of the EIS and why it's so important and the impact that we have in place.
And it's something that one of the land use committee has put a letter on and asked that they do. We put that in the budget saying the DCP should really make a study of our neighborhood and the cumulative impact of all the things which are happening in the neighborhood. So we have been harping on that for the last 10 years. I mean, you know, but it's complicated to do, and especially because you need to think of the EIS are done and paid by the developers, not by DCP. The developers, the landlord. I mean, just and so, you know, DCP says, oh, no, I have to do the job internally. And I don't know that they are really equipped for that.
In the case of Gateway, though, there's no developer per se, like.
Well, Gateway is the agency, that's the developer.
Oh.
Yeah, in that case, there's the one
It is a public
agency
entity.
reviews and a different agency.
That's the,
Like, just, it is almost a little arbitrary, but you just have to pick one agency to be the reviewing agency and another agency to be the leading agency.
I see, so I mean,
Yeah, but even the agencies, like when Port Authority did like, the Port Authority rebuilt, like, for the, like. They paid like $200 million for EIS consultants, like just for the government to approve its own project, so they paid like.
Right.
I think it was 200 million is the number they quoted to us, which seemed entirely realistic.
Yeah,
With
it's
the, like
enormous.
800
Yeah,
page
It's
report,
enormous.
yeah.
So those EIS are very expensive. But so now if we want to DCP to do an EIS of the whole thing, they are probably like, no way, I don't have the money for it.
They're probably not gonna do an EIS of the whole thing. I think the ask is like, we asked about a couple like school seats.
Right,
I mean, honestly, the easiest thing is just to aggregate the existing
yeah.
reports, plus maybe throw in a little bit of assumptions about like baseline growth rate aside from these ULURP requiring
no, but there is
projects.
something else under transportation, which is really an issue, is that the DOT, when they do the analysis based on the CEQR, you have seen this thing is the standard. They analyze one intersection, but not the next. So let's say this intersection is already maxed out, right? It's going to overflow into the next.
okay.
They don't look at it. So the analysis you see is point by point and not like a corridor, if it starts to be congested, every intersection is
Right,
going to
the
be
green ones
congested.
aren't
Right.
actually.
So that's something we raised many years ago, and I said, well, that's the way it is, we're not doing it. Because if you look at that, then it becomes really ugly. And we know it is ugly because it's happening, right?
And each project is handled separately, so in each
Right.
EIS, the no action case assumes that no project at all. Is like it
No, no,
it
no.
handles each project in a vacuum, so it assumes.
No,
that
they
the
have a
project-
map, they usually have a map, and they show the project that they are taking in consideration.
Okay, so they do consider some of the
Right,
projects.
some of the project, the smaller ones, not.
Well, I think if they like assume another project is going to go ahead.
Right.
Then they factor it in, so it probably depends on the timing, like if you have one
That's
that,
how far down the
Yeah.
process it is, yeah.
which.
Yes.
Rodney, can you do this for every committee? I'm sure you have all this time to do that.
I love this. I mean, I would have loved it before when I was a
You
newcomer.
would send it around to J.C. Bodine and said, you want to send it to
Or
everybody.
just through our view.
I mean, we actually do have the YouTube recordings, we
The
should,
YouTube recording, we can,
Yeah,
we should send the, the YouTube link with the timestamp to when it starts.
yeah.
The other thing that I didn't put in that I think I'm remiss, but I wanted to refer to Christine and probably to Ellen, was that the EIS comes through either the Chelsea land use or the Hell's Kitchen, is that right?
Always.
Okay, yeah,
So the way it works is that they come to the land use committee and the land
Either
use
one.
committee start to distribute what needs to be done.
That's
So
right.
either one person and, come and say, I got it, and then we start to work on it together. Or in the past, it would come to me, but,
But
that's,
most things come to transportation,
yeah, but
like not
that's
every
what I'm
committee
just
reviews
saying is
every,
that.
every, like, but
Yeah,
most
What I'm
things.
saying is that this
The
starts,
committee
this
of
starts
Chelsea though,
in the.
will be the land use though, right?
And then it's distributed to different people.
Yeah, so what I've also done was, because again, I said it's complex, I created an infographic of the.
Wow.
things for everyone today- For today.
Look at that. Wow, it's online?
He's not an A student, he's
Mm-hmm.
just really conscientious.
Right.
I can send it in, but I created this, using like.
Can I make a comment?
Yeah.
Is this expected to change? Soon, the process,
Oh, I
in
don't,
terms of the amount of days that it saves?
There was a proposal and I don't know whether it passed.
No,
But the
it didn't
charter.
change the number of days.
No,
Yes,
this
it
is-
changed the number of days because.
No,
it
no, it
merged-
just changed the time, it
Wait.
condensed the timing so that it's
But that's what it
current.
means.
The-
That's what it means.
No, no, it's
the-
still the same
But
number of days.
this is EIS, this is prior to ULURP.
Oh, yes.
Oh, okay.
Like the city charter amendments about ULURP, which, like, this has no time
It's the
limit.
same thing.
This is
It's
part of
brought
ULURP.
Right.
But
part
it's,
of
but
it.
Preliminary.
our review during ULURP is the same number of days, just concurrent with another.
Yes.
whatever.
Yeah,
So
but
it's the
this-
same number of days.
But this process basically takes as long as it takes, so if they think that it's gonna take 2 years, the developer will start. Like hiring a consultant and doing this well before the ULURP. In fact, I would say they always do this, because the environmental review process always takes, the ULURP time bound, 180 days, in some cases now 90 days. Very time bound, but environmental review, not time bound, can take years, so the project developer will always start.
Yeah, there is a
Start
clause-
this process much earlier, and then they will initiate ULURP when they are usually fairly far along in the
And
EIS
then,
process.
and then there is something else which happens not officially, which is typically when the developers want to do a big project, they will approach the board. And there will be a small group of the board who is going to go meet with them informally and look at what are you doing? What do you want to do? And let's give them some guidelines. Which is not official and not public, but very helpful to get engaged. And also to prevent some stupid stuff, because once they are in public.
Yeah.
They come back out, where when they are in those small meetings, they kind of listen and say, oh, okay, all right, we'll do it this way instead of that way. So there is that process taking place before the beginning, which we think is really where we can make the most progress, frankly.
Question, for like the transportation analyses,
Section.
a lot of the statistical analyses, I mean, as you were just saying, seem sort of dubious.
Yeah.
Like,
Hypothetical.
like they,
Yeah.
no, but truly just do like very, like, based on like
Right.
these very basic heuristics of like. We think there are this many cars, produce this much traffic.
They don't really fix their models, like they don't like.
But I mean, well, the problem is that traffic is like. It's like trying to like the flow of water. It's like cars, like a bunch of cars that each have an independent human driver who oscillates their speed. Just a little bit based on each additional car you put on the road, like. It's, even like 50 cars on a road with 2 lanes can go,
So
20 miles an hour or 10 miles an hour, just depending on the road. The question is, like, how inaccurate do you think it is? And is there a way that it could be better?
I'm sure there is a way it could be better. It's
Like,
although.
is it worth like looking at those things at all? Or is it
Well, it's
just,
worth looking at it because they are taking it as the book, the Bible.
like
And
the developer?
we need to tell them, this is no good, you're wrong. For example, our role is to say, at this intersection, it's not the way it works.
Right.
Your number makes no
But
sense.
do you look at them in just like a like, I wanna, argue that the transit impact needs to be mitigated. And this is like data to back me up, or do you look at it as like, this is actually a reasonable prediction?
Well, the way I look at it generally is compared to what we know. And, say, okay, at the corner of 51st
Yeah.
and 9, this is the way it works. Don't tell me that your number is ABC, because I know this is the way it works. So what you confront them with is the local knowledge.
Yeah.
Okay,
And say, my knowledge says
it's
this.
not really about the number.
Well,
Well,
it
it's a
gets
number.
prompted by the number, because the number is usually,
Yeah.
they show you an intersection which is green, and you say, whoa, no way, it's not green. So you
Yeah.
have to start from what they did, and then look at it and put your criticism on it. And say, no, that's not the way it works, you better redo it. When I did before Gateway, there was a project which was called ARC. Remember, if you remember, ARC was the predecessor to Gateway,
Chris
was
Christie.
killed by Chris Christie,
Oh.
right? But when they came, and I was totally young on the community board, I looked at the number, and the number were making no sense. The pedestrian, they were showing numbers on pedestrian crossing, cross so many people. So I rejected it, we rejected it, and everybody got really upset, and then the agency told us, yeah, you were right, we had a bug into our system.
Oh, wow, nice.
In the spreadsheet, but you don't know the grief I took, because I said, this makes no sense.
Did they ever do any retroactive analysis afterwards to see how close their modeling was?
I don't know, no, I don't think so.
Yeah. Like for an extra 200 million, you could.
Yeah,
I feel like
It's
some
a
of
hindsight.
the.
I just feel like these models probably don't get any better if nobody's
Some of the
ever.
numbers seem like they could be more accurate, like school seats, like you take the number of people that are gonna live in a building, you take 30%, you're like, that's how many kids there are, okay, very reasonable. But the traffic numbers, when I look at like how they do it, just seems so,
It's hard.
so many assumptions.
They have a lot of systems, so they put them into models.
Yeah.
And the models can be totally wrong. I mean, like, I don't remember recently, 2 years maybe, they showed all of 9th Avenue between 42nd and 38, and 38 green. There is no problem. And I said, I don't think so. So I showed them the movie, and I said, I don't know where you got your numbers, but something is wrong here. It's not adding, so you have to tell them it doesn't work.
So,
Yes.
okay.
Christine, how has congested pricing changed the modeling, or will it change, or have people started to think about?
I don't know
We don't-
whether they have adjusted the things.
And it's different consulting firms putting together all of these different.
Yes,
Okay, so
Yes.
it's like they're not really sharing.
I've heard that anecdotally that in the beginning, congestion pricing affected traffic, but now it's normalized, it's back to before. It's not high.
well, it's not,
Oh, I
yeah,
agree.
because the price is
Yeah.
not high enough.
Yeah, I agree, I would say.
But
that.
it happened like
And I
that.
know that-
The zone has stabilized, the zone has gone down,
Right,
but around the zone, the traffic is probably in some places, especially on the west side,
Yeah,
worse than it was before congestion.
right.
They
But
were in the
in
zone.
London, it happened the same way. They
Yeah.
made the price, and then it came back up. And then they increased the price, and it came back up, and they increased the price, and so
Mhm.
that's what
I
we
don't
have to
understand,
do.
they're just large groups of people who are like, oh, no, that's too expensive, they stop driving for 2 months and then they come back.
No, it wasn't.
Okay, well, this is fabulous. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I wanted to do some new business discussions. I had a meeting with Eric Butcher's office. Yeah, Eric Butcher's office, UT, NYPD, everybody at 18th Street between 10 and 11. And apparently they have a hotel which is
Hotel.
very, very trendy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And they have
Very
a
nice.
zillion of cars, double parked, triple parked. They have paparazzi, they have everything.
What's the name of the bar?
But,
Fine night, so
it's
it's
from South America. Oh, it is, yeah.
very
Fine
trendy.
Uh,
So, everybody was very upset. The guy who was in charge of the head of co-op of the other building across the street was
Oh,
there.
interesting.
And then what we,
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
what we talked about is changing the parking regulation to convert everything to, loading zone. So nobody can park. Right? And then when they have people coming in and out, then they park
Move
there,
on.
in and out.
Move
So,
on.
huh?
We need to move on.
Right, right. So we, the DOT asked us to send an admin letter. And I just wanted all of you to know, we sent that admin letter to say, okay, remove that. DOT said it's a good idea, and MPD said it's a good idea, everybody says it's a good idea. So that's one thing. This second thing is that, second update. So today, I learned from DOT that they were not going to do the 9th Avenue super sidewalk
Ever?
ever.
Hmm.
I mean, no date. And so was a shock to me because some people inside DOT earlier in the week, I shouldn't say that. I had indication that it was a go.
What streets was it?
South of 50th.
50 years to 34,
Right down to the-
right?
Oh, wow.
So this was really a punch in the gut for me, and now I'm going to start fighting.
Well, we will have a
And the-
new DOT commissioner and a new mayor in 3 weeks, right?
So what I want to do is I want to send a letter saying how shocking it is, how disappointing it is, how needed it is, and why in the world they had people working for 2 years on planning, and now they pull the
Yeah, what a
plug.
massive waste of money.
Was there a reason?
Yeah. Well, the reason I heard from the commissioner, is the commissioner of Manhattan, is that the signal division and the concrete division say we don't have enough resource. But I'm saying, if you have planned for a project for 2 years, you should have checked on the resource at the beginning. What's going on here?
I mean, they indicated that project was maybe going to be done in 2024, if not definitely 2025.
Definitely,
And,
yeah.
we wrote our approval for it, I think, in like January 2024 or something.
Right.
With the expectation that maybe we get lucky this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Right.
absolutely, and we had, at the beginning of this year, I had all the elected officials who signed on the letter.
Saying where is,
Saying, where is it? This is very important, there is nothing more important, blah, 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 etc. And now, and then I knew the people inside the DOT were working on it diligently, and now it's, out of the blue.
I think that might be some outgoing administrations, trying to make some changes, Mr. Mastro or someone like that.
There's a $2 billion deficit that's basically being projected
Yeah.
for this year. So maybe they now are like, Bradlander
But
just.
this thing is for next year.
Yeah, but we're going into next
Oh,
year with
yeah.
that
So
$2
they're
billion.
fiscal year.
It's gonna have to get paid.
Maybe.
Right.
The $2 billion that we've already spent need to get paid somehow. So I'm
Yeah.
sure they're going through and figuring out, all right, what do we need to cut?
What project do we cut? But cutting a project that you have been working on for 2 years, it's huge waste of resource.
Yeah,
How expensive could this be?
I don't understand why they're concrete, it's a paint.
No, if they do the little islands, you know, the pedestrian
Yeah, but
islands.
Christine, there's existing concrete islands throughout most of this, and what I was told from DOT is they're gonna have the bike lane route around the existing
Well, I
island.
know, I didn't get enough,
Yeah.
you know, I'm getting a phone call tomorrow to
Yeah.
try to explain, and I have not seen the plan, which is a problem. And there are different ways of resolving the problem. One way would say, don't put signals, because on Eighth Avenue, we never put signals. So
Meaning
no
like
signals.
Bike signals?
No, because they
Moving.
moved the signals. On Eighth Avenue, they didn't move them.
It's fine.
And that's fine, right? And then don't do the concrete, say the concrete is going to be in the capital plan over 3 years,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You don't have to do, or give us half and a half. And then meanwhile, the Port Authority was showing us today, the pedestrian movement and all the neck down and all the extension that they need, sidewalk extension they need. So this is like, whoa.
Could it be because of the sort of the infringement on traffic that's already, like, since you're closing a traffic lane for a sidewalk?
Yeah, but the technical people said it was already resolved.
Oh,
Yeah,
so I'm like.
That's my
maybe it's just
understanding.
all the through.
and what I think it could be that there are some political, you know, pressure. There is somebody else who has a project that they want to get done, and this one has to drop, you know,
And this was approved prior to congestion pricing.
yeah. So anyway, I'm bringing that to you because I'd like to write a letter and get, you know, a resolution to write the letter.
Should we wait till the new administration? I mean, it's December. Does it really even make sense to do anything? It's.
Well, the letter will be out in the new administration anyway.
Oh, okay.
It'll be voted on next
Right.
January. and-
But I want to continue between now and the end of the year to put maximum pressure on what the heck is going on and why don't we be creative about that, you know? If we get half of it and then half of it the following year, that's fine, right?
Yeah.
But don't tell me it's gone. So what? This was weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, so can I have a?
I make a motion to write a letter saying, where's our sidewalk?
Yeah.
Right, second, yes. All in favor? Yes. Okay.
Can I make one maybe new business comment about super sidewalks? I'm curious to know whose job is it to shovel them? Are they sidewalks that belong to the landlord and the business owner, or are they streets that can be plowed? Because it snowed last Sunday and then it was very cold, so the snow stayed there.
Ice.
And the 9th Avenue super sidewalk's been covered in ice until today when it finally started to melt. So I don't know the bike lanes were somewhat taken
Normally,
care of.
the cleaning is done by sanitation, I
Right.
know.
I think
So
sanitation
they
should
do-
send a plow.
They should send a power, but they are not, because
Yeah.
nobody send them the memo, you know? That's-
So is that a administrative letter to sanitation saying,
Yeah.
please, this winter, keep our sidewalks
Yeah.
clear of snow?
Yeah. We should do that.
Okay.
Right? Yes.
Add something else to DOT. So a couple of months back, you know, we did a letter about the bus, shelters and the
Yeah.
benches. So the benches are in, and I'm looking at 23rd Street. And there's several sections several stops that don't have shelters. For whatever reason, infrastructure, blah, 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 blah. The suggestion was made, put up temporary ones. So now you've got, especially the people on the west side, 11th Avenue, maybe 10th, all right. So you're standing there and that wind is coming down from the Hudson River.
They would get the wind anyway,
Yeah.
because the opening is on that side.
Yeah, but you would have some, so anyway, but I think, do we want to press them? May not happen now, but at least put it on record. How about looking into new study? Put in temporary that can be removed in case they have to do.
It's
infrastructure.
not going to, they don't have that, because you know, this is
It's,
contract.
right, but the contract, whatever that.
It was Semouza, and now it's the French
The
company.
French company, yeah, but they're not gonna do it anyway, so somebody else needs to do something. I mean, people standing there
They are not-
huddled in doorways.
Right.
It's really, I'm sure it's happening in other parts. of the
Yeah,
city.
yeah. Well,
Well, maybe not to DOT, but at least to the electeds and copy to DOT.
yeah, we could say,
Depending on
you want to
who's-
send me a
Depending on who's
list?
in which seat.
You want to send me a list of
yeah.
the one that are missing?
Okay, yeah, we'll include it.
Right.
Okay.
So annoying.
Leave for next, leave for next.
There's so many things that don't work.
I just want to clarify, you wanted to write a letter about the parking regulation for 18th Street between 10 and 11. We didn't actually vote on that. Do we need to vote on it?
Oh, let's vote on it, yes.
And what is the parking
What is
change
it?
that we're doing?
It's the parking changes, whatever is there, which I don't remember, and it's changing it to loading, unloading, I mean, loading zone.
It's probably no parking.
Christine, how does that affect the neighbors?
There are no neighbors, I mean, there is a building.
In case we care, this
No, but this was the guy was the person who was the most virulent, was the managing.
The one from the lantern? The one
Yes.
here?
Yeah, I mean, those are.
Yeah, that's the guy who was asking for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't blame.
Lantern House wants it.
Right.
So there would be no objection from neighbor.
No.
Okay.
We don't think so.
They have a garage.
You have the hotel on one side and the lantern on the other side, and all these people were there in the street discussing that.
They
So-
don't have a driveway too, right?
Yeah,
There's no-
the
you pull up.
brand actually has like a.
Yeah, they have a
Like
garage
that,
and a driveway,
Well,
yes.
it's like a cul-de-sac or what.
Yes,
what do you
yeah,
call
no,
it?
no.
They have no excuse is what they.
That's
You could get out of it.
It's, I think it's the hotel.
No, it's the hotel, it's the whole hotel
It's
situation.
like guests, they just wanna get dropped off or picked up
The valet situation.
with their drivers.
Yeah.
You have a comment.
Well, a couple things. One, across the street, where the building on the left used to be where 1018 is. They just go to 1018, and it used to be, traffic used to be horrible at that time. But what I want to talk about is the 14D stops, and its end stop is between 17th and 18th on 10th Avenue. And
Okay, wait, that's not this subject.
no, what I'm saying is that that's gonna have, that bus route is gonna have to be rerouted. And it most likely be rerouted back to 11th Avenue, which will affect this. So I'm just saying that because of the construction that's there, there's no holding pattern for that bus to be. That the logical thing would be for it to be on 11th Avenue.
Okay, but one more time. I heard you. But we are trying to get a vote on the
18th Street.
On the 18th
parking
Street.
Into making it
Right.
a loading zone.
Right, so we
I
have
make
a
a motion
motion,
for that.
yes,
Second.
okay. All in favor,
And we're voting.
All vote yes?
right,
Yes.
and then we had a motion for the for the DOT and 9th Avenue.
Super sidewalk.
Yeah.
We already voted for that. I have already recorded.
Okay. All right. Done? Good. Well, thank you very much. Thank you for a full year of work together. Really nice, really productive, really everything. The best really in my life.
No bias.
No bias.
So, motion to adjourn?
I'll second.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All right. Thanks God.
Happy
I was
holidays, everyone.
there.
Happy holidays, and happy new year, everybody.
Where are you going to leave it? In the drawer?
Yeah.
I'll send it around.
Oh.
Digital copy.
I did.
So what?
We're done.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Holidays, everyone. Christine, please don't forget to put everything away, and roll everything back towards the front.
Yes.
Okay.
And Janine,
All right.
bravo, and thank you for everything you are doing.
Thanks, Janine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.